Hey guys, Phil here, hope you're all well. What you're looking at in front of you is the SEGA Dreamcast I installed Japanese cakes region 3 BIOS into in a previous video. As you can see, it's still working perfectly fine. Now you probably know this from my previous video. I'm getting this ready to give it to a friend, but I don't want to give it in this condition. It's pretty yellowed. If I bring my controller in and put my controller on top of the Dreamcast, hopefully you can see the yellowing of this Dreamcast now. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to strip this down, I'm going to prep it, and then I'm going to RetroBright it. So if you stick around, I'll crack on with that. Let's start stripping down this Dreamcast. Now the first thing I need to do is remove the modem just here. It's just clipped in, just push down like this and pull, and it comes off. And I need to remove 4 screws now to get the top lid off. There's one here, there's one here, there's one here, and the final one is here. Remove those, I'll be able to turn it over and remove the top lid. Now the first thing I want to remove is the power board. Now to do that I need to remove this connector just here, very simple. I need to remove this screw and this screw, and then I just pull this little catch here and I can pull the power supply out. That's the power board removed. I'm just going to remove the plastic spacer that stops the power board shorting on the top of the shield. What I want to do now is remove the GD-ROM. Super easy to do. There's 3 screws. There's one just here, there's one here, and the final one is just down here near the fan. Remove those and you can pull the GD-ROM straight out of the system. What I want to remove now is the fan. Not very difficult to remove. There's just 2 screws. There's one here, there's one here, and then I have to remove it from its connector just here, and that will be the fan taken out of the system. What I want to remove now is the power switch. Very easy to do, just 2 screws. There's one here, and I can pull the power switch out. What I want to do next is remove the controller port board, this here. Now to do this, it's very simple. You've got a ribbon here, it's just push fitted in, you just pull it out like that and it's out. And then I've got to remove 4 screws. There's one here, there's a couple here, and the final one is here. Remove those and I'll be able to take the controller port board out. We're on the final stretch. What I want to do now is obviously remove the top shield. Now to do that, there's a series of screws I need to remove. There's one here, 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 there's one just here, there's one here, and the final one is here. Remove those screws and I'll be able to take the top shield out the Dreamcast. And that's the top shield removed. Now a quick tip guys, just make sure your thermal pads are in good shape. If they're not on these chips here, check your top plate, make sure they're there, because obviously these are needed to cool the chips down. There's actually a couple on the bottom side as well, and I'll show you them. Now the top plate's been taken off, there's actually nothing holding the Dreamcast motherboard in there, so I'm just going to take it out. And there's those thermal pads on the underside of the board. Just again, make sure they're there, check see if they're in good condition. Now I need to move this bottom plate. Simple, just pulls out. The controller port bracket can come out as well, and that's it. That's the bottom half of the Dreamcast stripped down. Now the bottom case of the Dreamcast is stripped down. I want to strip down the upper case. The first thing I want to do is remove the power button just here. and it's very easy. You just push these two wings in like this, get something to push it through like a screwdriver, and there we go. That's it. That's the power button removed. What I want to do now is remove the lid catch and the open button on the opposite side. Now to do that I need to remove this spring. It's very easy. Just push it like this and lift it over, and you can take off the spring. What I need to do next is remove these two screws just here, and then I can take out the lid catch. Now the lid catch has been removed, I can remove the actual open button. Same again as the power button, just push these two clips and you get something to push it through like that. And as you can see, is the open button. It's upside down, there you go, that's the open button. What I want to do now is remove the actual LED light pipe for the power indicator. Now that's very easy to do. There's just two screws, there's one here, there's one here. Remove those and I can take the light pipe out. What I want to do now is actually remove the top lid. To do that I need to remove this screw, and then I can pull out this bracket like that. Same again with this bracket, I need to remove this screw and this screw, and I can pull the bracket out. Now I need to be very careful though, and this is a tip. There's a spring just down here that keeps tension on the top lid. Just be careful when you're taking this out because it can ping out. That's the actual Dreamcast stripped down. What I want to do now is wash the case before obviously I RetroBright it. But before I'm going to do that, I'm going to remove a couple of labels. There's this badge here I want to remove. The reason I want to remove it because I don't know how this is going to react with the peroxide I'm going to use. So I'm just going to, you know, be safe than sorry, remove this label. And I'm going to do the same with this label as well. I'm going to remove it. Now this one I'm not bothered about, and obviously this one's missing anyway. So yeah, there's two I want to remove, this label and this label. Well, in that that label did not come off as I was expecting it. Yeah, that's a pain in the not to worry guys, I can always make a label. It's not going to be too difficult. But yeah, this one came off fine. But yeah, that one's a look. Yeah, just be careful when you're removing the labels. I can remake it in Photoshop. So yeah, I'm not bothered about that. But yeah, what I want to do now is get these in soak before I RetroBright them. As you can see, I've got the upper lid and the lower half of the case in soak. I'll leave them in there for half an hour, give them a scrub, take them out and then prep them for RetroBrighting. That's everything cleaned, ready for RetroBrighting. What I want to say guys is this badge was a pain to get off. I literally had to scrape it off with my Stanley knife, and as I was doing it I got a certain smell, and that smell is very notorious. What I think happened was the badge must have come off before and someone super glued it on, because normally these, you know, you just slip a knife under them and they pop off really easy, but this one, boy, it didn't want to come off. It was on there all right. So yeah, I think someone super glued that on. But yeah, everything's cleaned, everything's ready for RetroBrighting. What I've decided to do first is the actual top lid, the controller port, fascia, and the two open and power buttons. Now I've got to be careful doing these two because obviously they're grey, and we all know what grey is like when you RetroBright it. So I'm going to put this in, I'm going to put these two in, but I'm going to keep my eye on these two. I'll probably come back every quarter of an hour and massage that peroxide. So yeah, I'll get these all prepped up and then we'll get them in my RetroBright box. what I want to show you now is what peroxide I use. I use this stuff, Be Blonde. You can get this from Wilko's here in the UK. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this, I'm going to put a thin coat over the cling film, this stuff here. I think you Americans call this saran wrap, but in the UK we call it cling film. So yeah, I'm going to put a thin coat of peroxide over the cling film. Then what I'll do is I'll take this, I'll put a thin coat over this, and then I'll just wrap it in the cling film, and that's ready to go in my RetroBright box. What I've done is I put a thin coat of the peroxide on the cling film. I'm wearing gloves. That's just in case I get some of this on my hand. It can actually burn your skin, so you need to be careful. Wear gloves. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this top lid. I'm going to put a thin coat of peroxide on that, and then I'm going to wrap it in the cling film. That's the upper lid, the controller port fascia, and the open and power button, all peroxided up. Time to get them in my RetroBright box. Open the lid, my RetroBright box, and you can see those parts are all ready to be RetroBrighted. So I'm going to shut the lid, and I'm going to power on my main grow lamp. And if I open the lid and show you inside, trippy. So yeah, what I'll do is I'll leave them in there for half an hour. I'll come back, massage that peroxide, and I'll just keep doing that until I deem them good enough to come out. So yeah, just got to sit and wait now. The upper and lower on the lid, and the controller port and the two buttons, the power button and the open button have been RetroBrighted. Let's get this Dreamcast back together again. And as you can see, the Dreamcast is put all back together. Now I've got a little bit of a confession to make. I'm not going to try and hide this. If you take a look at the front controller port fascia, there's a tiny little bit of tiger stripe in there, but it's very minute. In fact, if I turn my lights off and you're further away from this thing, you can't see it. But I can live with that, and I know my friend's going to live with that. You know, I'd rather have a little bit of tiger striping like this, which will probably fade out in time, than a horrible yellow Dreamcast. But as you can see, it's come out pretty nice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you a quick before and after shot. And hopefully you could see the difference compared to when it was horribly yellowed compared to now. It really does look really nice, and going through the camera's not doing it justice. In real life it really does look nice. If you compare it to my really good condition controller, you can see the colours are pretty much spot on. So that tells me this Dreamcast's not far off from being what it was like when it came from the factory. Now obviously it's got some dings on it. There's nothing I can do about that. But yeah, what I want to do now is just talk a little bit about the actual label that I created, well, the sticker that I created. What I did was basically took a stock image of the Dreamcast logo, and I just coloured it in different colours, and I'll tell you what those colours are. If you live in a UK region, PAL region, you're going to have a blue swirl. If you live in a Japanese region, your swirl is going to be orange, and if you live in the US, your swirl is going to be red. So what I did is I just incorporated all those colours: blue for the PAL UK, orange for the Japanese, and red for the US, and it just depicts this Dreamcast is region free. Now the only reason I had to do that was because some muppet decided to glue the original label down like an absolute idiot. So yeah, don't be gluing labels down, guys. Get some double-sided tape or some Bostik instant contact adhesive and use that. Don't be gluing stuff down with super glue. But yeah, region free. Now what I'll do is I'll put a link to this where you can download it if you want to do it with your Dreamcast as well, because you know, all I did was basically take the original stock image of the Dreamcast logo and I just coloured it in different colours, that's all. So yeah, there you go guys. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, all the usual stuff, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one. And it's playing a little bit of Out of the Dead too. Catch you next time, guys.